Welcome to PredWings podcast, where Smashville and Hockeytown collide. And now your hosts, Brett and Ron White and D-Law, Dan Lawless.
Welcome to PredWings podcast, episode 84.
84.
And we got a jam-packed show. We got a trade episode. Lots of trades happen. Trade deadline was Friday, but first you can get us on our social media. PredWings podcast on Facebook, Discord, Instagram. We're at PredWings Pod on X and YouTube. And our email is predwingspodcast@gmail.com. I guess we can roll right into our trades first before we start into our recaps, just because of...
There's only a couple that I really want to dive into.
So the first, before this last Tuesday show, we'll start March 5th. Vegas got Euro front buddy, Anthony Mantha from Washington.
Yeah, No, let's talk about that really quick. Actually, get to the next one from Washington. I'll let you get through them because I want to talk about Vegas, but go ahead.
And they just gave up a couple picks, second round and a fourth. The fourth is in 2026, so it looks like Washington was kind of a salary dump thing. So then a couple days later, the Panthers got Vladimir Tarasenko. That's a huge... one of the huge ones for Florida. Tarasenko was rumored for a while to be out of Ottawa. They, and then it seems like this is going to be a recurring theme as far as trading players for picks. They ended up getting a fourth round and a third round. One was this year and one was next year. Colorado, they were pretty active this year. They got Sean Walker and a fifth round pick from the Flyers for our old buddy in Nashville, Ryan Johansson. And they also got a conditional first-round pick. And Colorado, while they're at it, they went and got Casey Middlestad from Buffalo for Bowen Byram, which I think Buffalo robbed him on that one. Bowen Byram, it was kind of funny because before I don't want to get into the recast, but so Byram played against the Predators when he was with the Colorado, and then his next game, after he gets traded, was to Buffalo, and Buffalo ended up playing Nashville, so he kind of played Nashville twice. But before we get into that,
I want to know though. You realize what Buffalo has for defense right now, right? Dali, 23, Power, 21, Jokiharju, 24. Johnson, 22, Samuelson, 23, Byram, 22, and they've got Clifton, who's only 28. Buffalo's getting young, and they're stacking up with talent. They might have had an off year this year. I get it. Teams go up and down. Buffalo's always been up and down. They had a decent season last year, but they're stockpiling a lot of young guys. I mean, I think for a couple of reasons, this is good is because it's going to keep them growing together. Just like you saw Tampa Bay back in the day with Steve Yzerman, just organically growing the team and staying good for a very long time. And I think Buffalo's kind of on that track. And the other nice thing is now they've got a lot of young guys. If they want to trade them to get more picks to help their, to help any, kickstart to any rebuild that they're going through, now they've got the ability to do that with a group of young guys. So, yeah, I think Buffalo's going to be a team to watch out for. I coming up in the future, and especially now, like you said, D-Law adding I can't even say his name now. You always get me confused on it when you say it. You always mess me up with that. Ever since you messed it up that one time way back when, I
didn't mention his name wrong, Byram. I said Bowen Byram. Why did I screw it up?
No, it was remember, it was written wrong in the schedule.
Not because of me.
It was Byram Bowen.
Who's that?
What was it?
Well, that would be last name.
Obviously, it's no.
That would be last. That would be last name first.
No.
Bowen Byram, but if you go last name first, Byram Bowen would be last name first. You know how they say?
Yeah. You still get me all confused with that. Oh, every time is right. Gen Z. It's Ryan's. Welcome to the show. Brian, you got to check him out. It's Ryan's Gaming Hideout. He texted me, I want to say a few days ago, and I thought he was pulling my leg, but he had texted me because his cousin was able to get. Now I don't know, D-Law, have you ever? But D-Law, do you know how when you watch a Red Wings game and as they go into the tunnel, it's glass on both sides and there's a restaurant there?
Oh, kind of like what they got in Pittsburgh.
Kinda.
And Nashville's got.
He said that we might be able to get seats there for Tuesday night's game. In that, well, behind the bench, and then dinner at that glass in Detroit at Little. Ryan's cousin was able to pull this off.
In Detroit, when they come through, when they come like in between periods and they show the camera of the players walking in, you can see that little thing. I was wondering what that was. Because it looked like there's tables.
Oh shoot! You know what? I got the days wrong. Tuesday, Buffalo's in Detroit. It's Saturday's game. No wonder I thought it was such short notice when you were asking me. I was like, how am I going to pull that off in like 3 days?
Yeah, I'll probably get sick again.
Oh,
every time you leave town, you get sick.
Oh, that was the worst.
All right, so back to the trades. If you're done with the side,
getting back to it. But I like there's 2 trades that I liked. I like Boston going out and getting Pat Maroon. I like that trade because Boston doesn't have, they lost that physicality when they lost Lucic, and I think Patrick Maroon is a better replacement than Lucic was. So I like Boston going out and making the move to bring him in. I think he's going to bring grit. I think he's going to give them that playoff style of hockey that they might be lacking. They've struggled in the playoffs, as we know, the last several years. I mean, they've been in it. They've been the best team in the NHL. They've broken records. And they just couldn't break through and get into the next round. And I think it's because, they do have some smaller players. Marchand's always willing to step up and get a little gritty. McAvoy will get a little bit gritty. But who else? Who else has that? I liked that. I think he's going to bring that presence that they've been lacking. I think that's going to be a good opportunity for Boston to try to make that push and, make it to the Stanley Cup. They're kind of in a win it now or never kind of a scenario because they're going to be rebuilding soon. Marchand's got how many years left? Who knows? You're going to have Pasternak and McAvoy to build around, which isn't a bad start, but they need to have more, which, they don't have many draft picks. So they're kind of stuck. They're kind of in a weird transition, but I think Maroon's going to help.
There was also a couple three team trades. Edmonton, they got Adam Henrique and Sam Carrick, and along with some other draft picks and prospects from Anaheim and Tampa Bay. Anaheim, they get a couple picks, first round pick. Lucas Anaheim's in a rebuild, and Tampa Bay also got a pick. So and that's the theme of this year's trade. And the Rangers, they got Wenberg from Kraken for a couple picks. So and then Vegas, they were pretty busy. They went and got Hannafin. That was another 3-team trade with Calgary and Philly. More draft picks and a prospect involved in that one. So that was
that. I like
seemed
that
like,
a lot.
Like you mentioned a lot to me a couple days ago about it was a cap trade, a salary dump trade is basically what you said, I believe.
No, it wasn't about that. To go, for Washington.
Because there's
I mean, they're not
because there.
huge.
I mean, not just them, but there are so many teams that traded. Other obviously outside from the contenders like the Edmonton
What?
and Vegas,
Vegas is making a push. They're making a push. Vegas is for real. I like them. I like
they've been
Vegas.
kind of
I like what they did.
Yeah,
They just added. They added the best defensive option that was out there in Hannafin, and they brought in Mantha, who's the 20-goal scorer. He's got 20 goals this year.
And they put Stone on IR again, so he'll come back in the playoffs.
Yeah, he'll be back.
Playing that
before, but
IR game.
I don't like the IR game. Don't get me started on it. I hate it. But it's legal. They're able to do it, and they're going to. Why wouldn't you? So now you're going to bring Stone. I mean, they're going to have to move somebody down. Who? They're stacking their line right now. They're stacking their team. So you've got Eichel, Mantha, Hannafin. You'll have Stone, Marchessault. I'm liking what they're doing. They brought Mantha, and that was, he's having an up year. And he played great when they played Detroit the other day.
Toronto got a defenseman from Washington. I don't think that's really a big Joel Edmondson. I don't think he's a big, they just, a couple picks for him. So I don't know. Not too familiar with Joel Edmondson. I think he's probably younger. Not sure. Montreal, they got Jacob Perreault from the Ducks for looks like probably a prospect. Jan Mysick. Edmonton got 1 year, another former buddy there from Detroit, I believe, Troy Stetcher. They got him from Arizona. I thought he was in Anaheim. Must be Arizona. Got him from Anaheim. Those were involved. A couple picks there. Colorado, they got Brandon Duhaime from Minnesota for a pick. So they're not going to have too many picks in the next couple of years. So it looks like they might be going all in because, if they falter and they get rid of all these picks, they're not going to have anything in the future, kind of like what they did a few years ago when they're rebuilding. So, you got to keep some of these picks. One trade I do not like, but I'm kind of getting over it. I mean, I hate to see him go. Yakov Trenin, the Yak. It's going to seem funny. I don't like the team went to a division rival in Colorado. But they got Graham Sword. I think they ended up trading him. Oh, no, they traded Grant. Oh, they traded for Grant, so they traded him to Colorado. Sorry. So it's Trenton and the Wrights. Predators received Jeremy Hanzo. Apparently he's got some upside from what I've been reading. Colorado, he was a high pick by Colorado. And they also got a third-round pick for him. That's not really a sell. You'll see when some of these other trades, why he made that trade. They got Anthony Beauvillier from Chicago for a draft pick, kind of high on that pick. The Predators also got Jason Zucker from Arizona. They traded a pick for him, so they made some trades, but they didn't really give anybody away other than Trenton. Most of them were just picks. I mean, they didn't really make. They didn't even make a lot of trades. I remember him with Minnesota. He was always a pain. I think they're training. He's a physical presence. Zucker. Yeah, he's one of those. He kind of.
But he's not that big.
Kind of replaces Trenton probably, but I don't know if he's that much.
5'11", 192 pounds.
Because I know Trenton is he's I don't want to say he's a scorer, but I think he's more of a scorer than Zucker. I think they got Zucker for his defensive abilities, maybe fights. I think he's been in a lot of fights. So they're hitting
solid body.
No, I'm not sure what.
I think they brought him in probably for that same reason that Boston did, just to bring that little bit of physical edge.
Well, then, and the Preds have been, a hitting team all year, so that fits into their scheme. But I'm not sure about Bavillier. I don't know if he's. I don't think he's a scorer, and I don't think of him as a hitter.
Nope.
Maybe he is, but I'm not.
He's a little pricey, but I mean, it's this year. It's a make it or break it year. I think that's another great move by Trotz because you're not stuck with him. You have him for the rest of the season, and then if he performs, you re-sign him for a year. If he doesn't, you let him go. I like what he's been doing, Trotz. I do.
Like I said, I was pretty happy with this trades. I mean, usually the Preds are pretty quiet during the trade deadline area week or whatever, and it seemed like the trade deadline was on Friday. But it seemed like a lot of these trades happen on Wednesdays and Thursdays. It's like almost like they thought the trade deadline was like on Thursday or something. But he didn't really. He gave away some draft picks, but they still they see. You look at all these that they gave away. You think, geez, they gave away a lot of tricks, but they still got. I think they got like 10 this year, or eight or 10. So I thought they had 11, but they still have quite a few picks.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't really subtract other than Trennan.
Addition by subtraction.
Well, yeah, other than trading away picks, but I mean, obviously they're not going to help you this year or next.
Now, here comes a deeper question. I need you to think about this one: Poyle or Trotz?
Depends on some of the
right now. What you're seeing, the direction that Trotz has taken the team, which is very different than what Poyle had. What do you like more?
Trotz has made some good signing, which I'll mention a little bit later on in that part of the show. He's had some signings, but they weren't like they were fiscally responsible, I guess you can say it. Unlike Poyle, who seemed to just throwing money out. I mean, yeah, you got to throw money at Forsberg's, but some of these other players, like they're still paying Duchesne, who's playing in Dallas. What that just I don't understand the whole thing there. Why would you still pay a player when he's scoring goals against you in your own division? But that's a whole nother thing. And a guy that's still on the books, it's not even in any. I don't even think he might be playing beer league somewhere. Kyle Turris. They're still paying him till I think 2 more years, and I believe. I don't think they're paying Ryan Johansson, but there was something about that, But so as far as the trades, I mean, it's a different market. I mean, if the Preds didn't go through that big win streak, it'd be a lot different thing. They would have been selling. So it would have been to see who he would have traded and what he would have got. So I can't really. And this is only his first year, so I can't really make a decision.
Like I never.
But I am excited. I am excited about under the direction of the Trotz and just the signings already, and I think he actually is going to be. The only thing I wasn't they didn't trade Barry. I was waiting for him to go, and obviously nobody wanted him. So they're going to end up losing him because he's already made it clear earlier in the year that he wasn't going to resign. So, and he's still a healthy scratch. So, I mean, obviously players, teams didn't trade for him because they don't want him or they know that they can get him for nothing when, in the free agency because obviously the contenders aren't going to want him because he's not going to help a contender. I mean, Edmonton. If he was going to help a contender, Edmonton would have kept him last year. So
I get it.
That's the only. Anyway, that's the only.
Yeah, I don't know much about that. I mean, he's older. Maybe his production wasn't where, they thought it needed to be.
But he wasn't happy in Nashville. I don't know if he. Well, I just
get back to my question. We're digressing really quick. I want to get back to this, but I like what Trotz is doing. Because I feel like he's got a direction. I feel the confidence, which, like I was saying, I never felt that in Poyle. I kind of felt like he always reached. He was reaching for everything. I even think that he reached for Forsberg. I think if you go back in time and you flip flop, Trotz for Poyle, you're going to get a much more team friendly deal because Trotz is building for the future. He's not necessarily building now. He's not giving away the house or buying the house to bring guys in. He's making the right moves.
Yeah, now I say they mention that, and now I think about it. I think Trot seemed like he was, or not Trot, Poyle seemed like he was always that all in every year, all in like
Hey,
Colorado and
Forsberg,
Dallas.
you want an 8-year deal guaranteed? Sure, we'll give it to you. We like you. I think Trotz is more business. Like, no, what is the best for this team? And that's what Eiserman's doing. Not the flip flop, but as a Red Wings fan, I have been ripping my hair out for the past, I'm going to say, 2 years. So the 2 seasons plus this season, so 3 seasons, I guess you could say, because you want to see more progression. But Eiserman talked about his plan, the Eiser plan, and it's a slow and steady go. And I kind of see it taking shape in the AHL, which is what he was alluding to is, we got to get these guys ready. We got to grow our young, get them to the position that we need them in, and then they'll come up. He did the exact same thing in Tampa Bay. He had just left before you could harvest the fruit. So he built up an awesome team through the youth, and he's doing the same thing in Detroit. So I mean, this year I get it. We're right there on the cusp. Next year, if we don't make the playoffs, I might really have a problem because then we're going to be looking at like a 10-year turnaround, and it's just that's a long time. So, but no, getting back to Poyle and Trotz, I think Trotz is the man behind the wheel. I think he's the guy that you want, and I was excited when he came in because I just felt like he was going to take the team and do what nobody's done. Give it some tough love. There's no heart and soul. You gotta remember Poyle was the one and only. He was probably given a lot of leniency. He probably gave guys contract based on his heart because he was a Nashville guy, true and true. And I don't see that in Trotz. Trotz, I think, is going to call a spade a spade. If you're not performing, you're out. Tyson Barrie, perfect example. You're out. You're not performing, you're out. He's not here to try to make people feel good and appease people. He's here to run a team. And I think he's doing a great job so far. He's going to make Nashville, it may not be this year or next year, but I think he's going to make Nashville a team that's going to be where people are going to be talking about them, like they talk about Colorado.
In a positive way, I hope, instead of a negative way.
No, that's what I'm saying. Saying that they're going to be a team that's like. I would love to see you run the team.
Just like
you would have 4 players total. Give all the money away to 4 players. No bench, no minor leagues. Everybody would be 4 players.
No.
Saros would have a quarter of the team. Forsberg, Yossi, and Evangelista. Those 4 guys would have 100% of the contract if you were the GM.
No. Well, anyway, getting back to some of these trades, one I really like, Anthony Duclair, he's going to Tampa Bay. So San Jose was dumping players left and right. So they get a couple of young players and a draft pick. Well, the Sharks are definitely in a rebuild. Carolina went out, and this was almost. Actually, that was not the last day. They went and got Jake Gensel. Pittsburgh's in the mess. I think Pittsburgh's in a rebuild. I think they finally kind of.
Yeah, I mean, how much
was forced in their hand. They didn't think they want. And so your old buddy Michael Bunting, that you love so much, he's going to Pittsburgh, which might be a good fit. Who knows? And looks like Pittsburgh stacked up. Probably. He was a rookie the last 2 years.
I just wasn't sure if they ever took that off. Like if they ever.
He'll probably always
rookie status from his name.
He'll have that R in his name for the rest of his career. He'll be 40 years old. Oh wait, he might be 40 now. But yeah, Pittsburgh got some prospects, and they kind of loaded up on it against us. So
I mean, in my opinion, the team that wins, in my opinion, is Vegas. I think they won the trade market.
And let's see, Columbus went and got a goaltender from the Blues, PK's brother, Malcolm, who's, I believe he played on the Sabres at one time. Kuznetsov. Now, this one kind of intrigues me. Remember last week's show, I said nobody claimed him off waivers. And they went, and then he obviously cleared, and then they traded him to Carolina for a third-round draft.
But didn't they retain
So
his salary?
I was thinking, why would they not have, if they're going to trade for him, why would they have not have just picked him up? But I was reading something. Apparently, the Washington GM wasn't really interested in trading him. But there was something about there was also something about he thought about like the day after they sent him down or he cleared waivers, and there was also something about the money, the salary. So, I believe. Well, I don't think it would favor Washington because I think Washington retains the salary.
Yeah,
but
that's why.
I think it's actually a smart move by Carolina. I mean, yeah, they gave up a third round pick, but it's kind of like a low risk. I mean, he works out great. Doesn't
right?
They didn't
and what
really.
I was saying is they retain 50% of his. So if they claim him off waivers, they're paying 100% of his salary. He cleared waivers. The Capitals still wanted to get rid of him. That's a perfect bargaining chip right there. Perfect. I mean, Carolina played that perfectly. Because now they only have to pay him half the money.
And it sounds like he might be kind of happy. Well, of course, he's, obviously he just got out of the player assistance and he probably just wants to play hockey now.
Yeah, he'll be all right.
So it's going to kind of interesting to see what he did.
I think he's going to give them a good little push.
So let's see, he did Carolina just beat Calgary 7-2. He had one shot and played 16 minutes. So that's not, I mean, for a guy that hasn't really played, has he even played NHL games since coming back? I don't know if he played in Washington, I don't remember if he has or not. But still, he's kind of, I don't want to say rusty, but 16 minutes. I believe that was his first game. Yeah, looks like he played against New Jersey in the 9th. And he had 13 minutes, 2 shots on goal. And then before that, it was last game he played was January 27th. So he had a couple months off. I
think he'll be okay.
A player he is a scorer, but it would have been kind of interesting, neat to see him score, first game back. But I'm sure he's probably on the third or fourth line. I'm not sure what line, but 13, 16 minutes. It's probably doing what for Carolina's. They might not expect him. Of course, then again, I didn't see the game, so I don't know how he played. How he. You always look at the goals and assists, but it doesn't necessarily determine on the play how he's. You could be just defensive. You could be, just there's just a lot of different more ways to play than just putting the puck in the net, as we all know. Buffalo sent Kyle Poso to Florida for a defenseman. Looks like probably a younger defenseman, Kelly. He's actually playing in the Amherst. He actually, I forgot, Saline. I believe that's how you say it. I believe he had assisted on a goal because he's in the AHL right now. He's a young prospect, so they also got a draft pick too. So Buffalo keeps stacking up on these younger players, and I think that was a great trade. Akposo might be good, but I think he's getting older. I think he's been around a while, and I don't think he fits. Obviously, not going to fit into the future.
Who do you think won the trade market? Who wins?
Probably Colorado. I would say Colorado. I like the Boston with they got Pat Maroon. Let's see, Winnipeg got Tyler Toffoli. So some of the experts are really saying that was like the steal of the draft, but I mean Toffoli's good, but I don't think he's really. I just don't think he's that. Detroit made a trade with San Jose. And do you want to mention that? Talk about that or?
Klim Kostin. Yeah, that was our only grit. That was it. Gone. Game, but he was injured. It's all right.
That was for a minor leaguer though, because they already know said Radom Simic is going to the Griffins, so.
Yep.
That was. I guess there was no room for Costin. What or wasn't he? Wasn't Costin Grand Rapids? I don't think he even played in Detroit.
No, he did.
The Flyers got Johnson from Buffalo. I didn't think he was on Buffalo. That was they got the pick. So there's a lot of picks going back and forth. Flyers got Dennis Guarano from Predators. That's another one I kind of. He was okay, but I'm not really. I just don't know who just Wade Allison, so I'm not really. It might turn out to be a good one. I don't know. Some of the other ones. Let's see. Matt Dumba is going to Tampa Bay. I don't know about that trade. That was from Arizona. Some picks involved in that one. The Sharks got Devin Cooley, who's a former Admiral, which I hated to see not get signed. I think that was a. I mean, well, they had so many goalies, but I still think it was kind of a fail on Poyle's part not signing him. But he's going to Sharks. He got traded. He only got traded for a 7th rounder, so he obviously wasn't a big thing. Cooley was on Buffalo. Poyle didn't sign Devin Cooley, and Buffalo signed him.
Said he came from Nashville, so I thought he was on like.
No, he was a former Milwaukee Admiral. I said former Milwaukee Admiral.
Oh, I didn't catch that. My fault.
Yeah. And Vegas. I mean, I don't know. Colorado. Vegas made a lot of trades, but Colorado had some they got some decent players. Well,
but I thought you said that Buffalo won the trade.
I didn't say Buffalo. Well, yeah, because of Byron, but I mean,
right.
I said. Well, I guess it depends on how Middlestat meshes with the Stars on Colorado, and now into Kushin's back. Vegas, they got Thomas Hertel. And that's another thing. A lot of the experts, so-called experts, said that was a huge trade. I don't think Thomas Hertel's all that great. Vegas traded. They got Thomas Hertel and a 3rd-round pick. This 2025 and 2027, and they gave up a 1st-round pick, which was, I think, pretty steep. Maybe Hertel will take off, but I just don't think. I don't think he's that much of a great player. The Sharks went and got Vitek Vanacek from the Devils for Kaapo Kähkönen. That's kind of intriguing because they just swapped goaltenders, and now New Jersey's got like 4 goaltenders that they got to decide what to do with, and apparently they're still thinking they still think they're gonna get Saros, and the Predators already said that they're gonna their main goal is to sign him. So I don't know.
Now, you have to at this point.
The only thing that's intriguing in that is New Jersey's GM is Tom Fitzgerald, which, if anyone knows, he's one of the original Predators. He was actually their first captain. He was in the expansion draft. I don't think he was a first pick in the expansion draft. He also played underneath Trotz. So I wouldn't be surprised to see. Actually, that's the only thing they did, but they probably didn't have anything that they wanted other than the goaltender. New Jersey seems like they're in the market for a hot goaltender, or our number 1 goaltender. Probably, well, they haven't really had one since Brodeur retired. But
Corey Schneider,
well, he's not. He was okay, but he's not a Brodeur.
Well, Brodeur
They,
is like a once in a generation, but we had Wab, Brodeur. I mean, that was the year, like, era of goaltenders.
but I think that's what New Jersey they want another one of those Brodeurs, and I don't know. Well, we'll see what happens, what they do.
They might have to draft.
Well, they might. I think that's pretty much. If I don't know if I missed any. I think all the rest of the trades were just kind of. Oh yeah, they also got New Jersey also got Jake Allen. That was another. So they got Jake Allen and Kempo Kakinen, and then on top of the goalies that they already have. Well, other than they just traded Benechek, but who was the other goaltender? I can't remember. So I think that's pretty much all the trades.
I think Vegas wins. I like what they did. They just added so much more offense and strong defense. They added goal scoring. They're gonna be dangerous, I think.
Especially all the players they got on IR that'll come back in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, they'll have to retool next year. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, I like what they've done. That's my take on all the trades.
So before we jump into the recaps, I don't know where I was left off. I don't know where I was. But the Predators, in addition to Zucker and Bouvillier, they also and Wade Allison, they also got Anderson Dolan from the Kings. I don't know where he fits in. I don't know what kind of player he is. I remember seeing him when he was with the Kings. He's definitely not a scorer. Otherwise, the Preds wouldn't have got him. But before I jump in to the recaps, Trotz made a couple signings. Mark Jankowski, who's getting, he's really stepping up, getting red hot now lately. He signed a 2-year, 1.6. He signed Dante Fabro. Not Fabro, a 1-year, $2.5 million. So I think that wraps up our trade part of it. Roll right into our recaps. Looks like you have Colorado first.
Yep, that was garbage, blowout, awful, terrible. Detroit just they couldn't hang, and Colorado was they allowed Makar to get his first hat trick. Garbage hockey. I mean, there's like no bright spot on in that game. So garbage, just garbage. No pressure. Let's go to Arizona. Garbage. Got blown out by Arizona. Blown out by Arizona.
I just hope we can win a game.
Yeah, agreed. 4-0 blowout.
I just want a minute. Arizona, and that's kind of. I saw some of this game, at least the first 2 periods. Now we all know Arizona only holds 4,600, and their arena deal that's gonna go. I don't know. So I'm watching the game, and I'm like, I think they got 4,000 Wings fans there. I think there's obviously all I saw was red. It's like, is that a home game? And the way Detroit was playing, I don't know if they knew if they could see the red in the stand. I don't think they definitely could hear them because they were cheering for them and they were booing the refs. So I mean, that should have pumped them up, and that should have they just didn't seem it when I was watching. They just didn't. They weren't
the
playing.
Control was awful. They couldn't skate. Fundamental. I mean, the basics, and that was the same exact thing that happened in the next game that I'm going to fast forward to, because I can sum all 3 games up at the end. Another poor performance by Detroit. They tried to make it look like they were trying, but still 5-3. Lost to the Golden Knights, and it just wasn't. I don't know. Just it was embarrassing. It was just absolutely embarrassing. An embarrassing stretch of hockey. Just a week ago, they were talking about, how, oh man, Detroit's the team to look out for. They're hot. They're getting hot at the right time. Watch out. They're coming. To this. I mean, this is abysmal. It's a joke. This last game that Berggren came up. Disgruntled Jonathan Berggren, who wanted to be traded because he wants to play in the NHL. Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate because he came up and he was irrelevant. Wasn't even noticeable. They mentioned his name a couple of times. But it's also his first game back. So I'm not going to, pound on him right now. So I'm hoping they'll give him, I think he's got 4 more games he can play. So I'm hoping they give it to him now because I want to see what he does after he gets up to speed. Give him a couple of games. He should be good to go by the 3rd game. So, I want to see what he's made of because you want to talk the talk. Now it's time to walk the walk. But Detroit's just playing terrible hockey. The fundamentals aren't there. They're passing, like I mentioned before. It's like they've never done it before. Patrick Kane, he's made a couple of, snafus, but he's still the most precise guy on the ice. His passing is still crisp. He's playing good. But there's no defense. Sider keeps getting burned. I mean, defense is where we're getting killed. We're allowing too much space in the slot. Our gap control is not very good. Too many open men. They have too much time to think and make decisions. And when that happens, it doesn't matter what's going on because, there's going to be goals scored. So, Detroit really has to dig down, and now is the time to figure it out because I get it. Dylan Larkin is not playing. He's out. He's injured. We all know that. We got a few more games to get through, and he'll be back. But he's still a part of the team. He's still in the organization. He still has a voice in the locker room. These guys need to find a way to go out there. I mean, everybody wants their shot. Everybody wants a shot. Everybody wants to prove that they're the first-line guy, and nobody is stepping up. Nobody. There's not one player on that ice that can walk off that ice, go into the locker room, and say, yeah, I earned my spot on the first line today. Nobody. They're not playing like it. They're lackluster. They're confused. Lalonde's got to get them, refocused, and we got to get after it in this next stretch of hockey because this is going to make it or break it for the playoffs. And now we're kind of in that dead man's land where, we're going to be too high to get a good lottery or even in the lottery, but we're going to be too high to get a good draft pick, and we're going to be too low that we don't make the playoffs. So, it's gut check time. It's go time.
Is he losing the locker room maybe, or is it just one of these slumps?
It's a slump. I mean, they've been like this all season long, but they need to get it figured out here pretty quick.
And it's funny how you mentioned as far as Kane, when he's on and he's making passes and he's out there and against Arizona, I don't even remember him out there. I don't remember. Usually, you could tell he's out there.
Some sweet passes.
He's out there, and I just don't. I didn't even. It was like he was invisible.
I thought he played pretty. I mean, I'm not saying he played phenomenal, but his passing, even in that game, like I look sometimes like where the heck did the puck go, and all of a sudden there's somebody skating up the ice with it. Like he just makes it happen. It's. I think it's incredible to watch. I think it's almost magic. For Kane and Pavel Datsyuk at the same time, it would have been an unbelievable team.
Because usually when he's playing, I making passes, but that Arizona, I don't know if it's the defense was on him or what, but I personally didn't see him out there. That's what I was wondering.
He had an okay. I mean, he played okay. He doesn't. He's not. He's not 22 years old. He's not flying up and down the ice anymore like he used to. He's out there solely for his experience and his ability to create plays. I mean, I think they said he had 23 points in 24 games or something like that. He's almost a point a game. The guy's playing great hockey, even at his age. But, yeah, in that game, I mean, it wasn't his greatest game. I will definitely agree with you on that. But he had a couple of, no-look, behind-the-back pass, saucer, saucing it over the defenseman's stick, bouncing in between the other player's stick, right on the tape of DeBrincat. I mean, who does that? Who he does that? I mean, that's what he does all the time. I mean, you'll just see the puck go. I mean, yeah, it gets blocked every now and again, but I would say at least 60 to 70% of the time, his passes are meeting the mark. And they're not just oh, you're wide open down the ice, I'm going to toss it to you. But it's no, I'm going to shoot this puck between this guy's legs, up over the other guy's stick. I mean, it's almost like that old commercial. I don't know if you would remember it. The basketball, I think it was Michael Jordan and Larry Bird, maybe. I'm going to shoot the ball off the wall, off the car, off the garbage, off the guy cleaning the roof into the basket. I mean, that's kind of how it feels like with Patrick Kane passing the puck. But yeah, I'll agree with you. It wasn't his best game, but I don't think we should not recognize what he does good.
Well, there wasn't very many of it in that game.
No,
obviously it was 4-0 when I started watching it.
The whole team was just pure garbage. And I love the Red Wings, and I've gone on, and I don't even bash the Red Wings. I do hate the patch on the logo, and there's a bunch of people like, oh, who cares? It's fine. I don't think any of the original 6 should have a patch on their logo. Besides,
I didn't even notice that, and I was like, oh, that's kind of small.
It is small. It's not big and gaudy. I appreciate that if they have to do it. I just don't think that a sweater that has that much history to it, unchanged history, Chicago, they haven't changed their logos or anything. Leave it alone.
Predators one on their home jersey you can barely see because it kind of like blends right in with their thing. But the one on the road jerseys, the white, it kind of sticks out. But they're still. But it's one of those things. I don't even want to watch no matter who I'm watching. Other than that one team,
people are saying that it doesn't make a difference and it's ridiculous, and everyone's like bashing people, and I don't believe in superstitions that much. I do during the games, but I don't after all's done and said. But ever since they put that logo on the sweater, they haven't won a game. Not only have they not won a game, they've been blown out of every game.
Well, maybe they should take it
off.
If
that's an omen. Yeah, try it.
I mean, what about the helmet one?
Lose now.
What about the helmet
game and put it back on?
What about the helmet one?
I care about the helmet. Think about the original 6 jersey. I mean, that's historic. Their history. Like I prefer to see them neat and clean, the same as they were when the original 6 started playing hockey. The helmet one I don't care about. Helmet, I don't even care if they put, make it look like a billboard. That I don't care about. The jersey, that's just me personally.
Well, kind of like the ones in Sweden, without those, they just can't even see the helmet. I know they got so many ads.
Go ahead, do it.
The one I hate is the annoying boards that the TV puts on the boards. It's like, why you got the advertising on the boards in the arena?
Ads, you hate those. That is your
It's so annoying.
Kryptonite, man. That's your kryptonite.
But anyway, I think we're kind of rambling on a lot longer than it was supposed to be. So are you done with your recaps?
I'm done. That's it.
Mine are going to be probably shorter because it was last week. It was a great week. I had 5 wins in a row. This week it was crap and more crap. Not as crappy as
that's right.
But it wasn't much better. Montreal at home, they lost in overtime, 4-3. They actually had a lead. They had a 2-0 lead, Forsberg and Nyquist, and that was about it. Montreal tied it up. Ryan O'Reilly did give them another brief lead for Montreal came back tied in and then won in overtime. So there's a loss there. Yes, they did get a point. So then the next game actually looked pretty good. I was able to watch this game. They played Buffalo, Forsberg. Great game for him. He had a hat trick. Won 4-2. So they kept a streak to 10. Actually, that was Forsberg's point streak. So I mean, Forsberg, he's excelling. He had a couple power play goals, or he had 1 power play goal. Luca Evangelista had a power play goal. But Bowen Byram, we just talked about in the trades with Buffalo, he scores a goal. But Forsberg took over in the third period, completing his hat trick. before Buffalo put one in late or midway through the period. It was just a great game overall, even though they gave up 2 goals. And then they go to Columbus. That was a Saturday afternoon game. Started out pretty good. Actually, didn't. Let's see. They got on the board. They got on the board for Kiefer Sherwood, and then Columbus came back, tied it up, but then Luke Evangelista again, second straight game. End up getting the eventual winner. This was 4 minutes in, so they come out of Columbus with a win, so that's a good thing. And then earlier today, yeah. So then earlier today, they were in Minnesota, another afternoon game. So at least it wasn't a night game and then the afternoon game. The Columbus was a 12:30 start Eastern time, and then they had to go to Minnesota for 3:30. Actually, I think it was Eastern time, Central. This was a national television.
About a period and a half of that game.
Wasn't able to see this game.
You missed a fun one.
I would. I don't know if I want to see the. I don't want to see if I want to see the announcers in this game.
It wasn't bad. No, it wasn't bad. And I didn't realize that they fought like 13 times in their last few meetings.
Well, yeah, that's just wild and Predators.
It's quite a rivalry.
It's just heating up again. I know it was pretty hot, pretty heated. 5-6 years ago, and it kind of cooled down a little bit, but now it's starting to heat back up. Jankowski they just re-signed him. He scores a goal. Luke Evangelista third straight game.
Nice,
gave them a 2-1 lead, but then the moron in Minnesota scores. O'Reilly ended up getting a power play goal to tie it, but then I actually didn't realize it was on TNT, and I was at the Amherst game, and I was like, so I turned TNT on my phone, caught a little bit of the overtime, and I see these idiots pull their goaltender in overtime. It's like, that's so Bush League. You don't pull your goaltender in overtime. There was no power play. There's no penalty or power play. It's obviously it's an overtime, so it's tied. There's no need to pull their goaltender.
I couldn't watch the game. I was going to actually watch it this evening, but what?
And as soon
was there a power play?
No, I just turned it on my phone. Not 10 seconds after I turned it on, Matt Boldy scores. Luckily, I couldn't hear that stupid goal horn.
But overtime, did they score?
350, and I'm not sure.
Boy, that's gutsy. I'd have to watch it. That's really.
There was a rule: if your team pulls a goaltender, obviously, if there's a delayed penalty, you do it. But I think that nullifies it. But if you pull your goaltender in overtime and another team scores, that team loses their. Yeah, the Predators got a point, I guess.
Every point matters. If you'd like to have a W, but take it. Minnesota's a decent team.
Yeah, it's not like.
The other thing that I kind of liked about this little rivalry is they were interviewing Brock Faber before the game, their rookie there, and they're like, "Oh, would you drop the mitts?" And he kind of laughed. He goes, "No, I don't drop the mitts. Look at me." He goes, "Well, unless they touch 97, then that's a different story. Then I might." Like he totally he was like, "Nah, I'm not going to fight." No, oh yeah, if they touch him, then yeah, I'm going for it. I kind of like that. It's like, it's a little heated rivalry.
So, the only thing I can think, because they're not really, they were tied. There was a bunch of teams with 67 points: St. Louis, Calgary, Seattle, and now Minnesota's got 69. And because of that, if they still would have they still would have 68, so they'd still be a point ahead. So I don't understand. And Vegas is the second wild card with 75. So, that's still quite. You're grasping at straws. I don't know. Unless Vegas, because they've been kind of struggling, like Edmonton has. So unless Vegas can kick it up a notch and get back in their winning ways, I don't think Minnesota's going to be able to catch Vegas. And Nashville's in first wild card with 78 points, and Vegas is also, they're in a battle with LA for that third spot in the Pacific. They're both tied with 75. So whoever whoever wins that between LA and Vancouver or Vegas is going to get that third. Obviously you want to fish in the top three in your division, and then because you wouldn't third place wouldn't get home ice because second place would, because it's two and three within a division to play in the playoffs. So it'd be Edmonton. As of right now, it'd be Edmonton and LA. If the Predators can keep getting those points and keep winning, and just keep they're 3 points ahead of LA and Vegas right now. So if they can keep getting the points, and because Vegas and LA are going to start winning some games, but the Predators can keep that cushion, it's going to come down to Vegas and LA for that second wild card. And I mean, I don't know if you really want to play Edmonton in the playoffs, so maybe you would want the second wild card. But then the second wild card would probably have to play Vancouver or Dallas, whoever gets the top seed in the West.
Yeah,
so
it stinks talking playoffs. You know it stinks. Just official, just in, the Islanders have jumped Detroit in the wild card spot.
I was just about to mention, the Islanders are on that hot streak. They got a 6-game win streak, and they're, last week I think they were sitting outside a wild card. They're actually, they're tied with Detroit, but because they've played, they got a game in hand. And Detroit does have more wins. Let's see who's got more rows. Detroit does have more rows. So it's just because the Islanders have that game in hand. So you better hope that the Islanders lose their next game, because they're tied with 72. And then, the Islanders are only 2 points behind Tampa Bay. The Islanders are in the same division, or no, they're in the Met, right? The Islanders, so it's Tampa Bay that's in the same division as Detroit. Tampa Bay's in the Atlantic. And don't look now, but the Islanders, Philadelphia's got that third spot in the Metro. They're only 2 points behind Philadelphia, so they could very well jump into that top three. And then you'd have to worry about Philadelphia.
The Kings, they should probably be able to win that.
Maybe, but the Kings, they've been kind of funny lately.
They can probably beat the Sabres.
As far as Detroit's hopes to get in the top three in their division, it's probably gone, because Toronto now with 82. So they're 10 points behind. So the only hope is Detroit for a wild card. Like I was saying, the Islanders, they're only 2 points behind Philadelphia for their third in their division. So Detroit could be battling with Philadelphia for a wild card as well, which has 74. So you got Philadelphia, Tampa Bay, New York Islanders 72, and then don't look now, Washington's on a 2-game win streak. They have 69. They could catch Detroit unless Detroit starts winning. Washington's got 2 games in hand. Washington's got 2 games in hand, and they're 70. They're 3 points behind. So Washington could actually, with those 2 games in hand, they could go over top. So, Detroit could better right this ship in a hurry. The 5-game losing streak here, because they're in a battle with Philadelphia, Tampa Bay, Islanders, and Washington. New Jersey's probably almost, they got 66. That they're almost looking for a miracle, probably, for that. So, that's some of the playoff race there. So I don't really see any NHL news stories, but I was watching the Avalanche. I don't remember who they're. I think it was against Detroit. I think it was a Detroit game. And I just want to say, I don't know who their PA announcer is. I thought it was a kid, but they were just absolutely terrible. It's just not, I don't know. I just had to mention that. That's the only news story that I got, other than some fines and suspensions. I don't know if you got any Red Wings news before we go into the fines and suspensions?
No, nothing as of right now.
I think I touched on Pospisil last episode. I don't know. I know we mentioned he was going to have a hearing. I don't know. I don't remember if the suspension was after our show, but he did get a 3-game suspension in that game. So I think I remember saying he probably will. Coyle was fined. What did he do? He cross-checked Bertuzzi. So Boston Toronto, that had to have been a pretty heated game. I'm surprised he didn't get suspended. He was only assessed a minor for that, but he got fined. And let's see, Evander Kane, he's up his old tricks. He got fined only $2,500. That was for unsportsmanlike conduct against Columbus's Cole Sillinger. Didn't say what happened. It happened at 46 seconds of the second period. So he probably just said something to him. McCabe was fined $5,000 for cross-checking Marchand. Oh, that's kind of... I bet you if it was reverse, Marchand wouldn't have got anything.
No, of course not.
Kelly from the Senators is going to have a hearing, so he'll probably get suspended. They call it an illegal check to the head. So I don't know why. I guess they got to have a hearing. I don't know before they suspend a player, or can they just suspend him without a hearing? I don't know. The Kings won in overtime. Check to the head against Andreas Englund. Yeah, that's right. Englund, I think he left the game. And Kelly did get a penalty for that. Oh, he did get suspended 2 games. I didn't think that was that bad of it. I mean, yeah, he hit him with his shoulder. Illegal check to the head. Did kind of go into the glass. But he didn't go down. Englund didn't go down. He actually fought. As soon as that happened, he kind of pushed him. Kelly actually went down more than Englund. Englund kind of crouched down, but he didn't actually fall. Kelly actually hit the deck. I don't see he got the worst of it because it looked like Englund's head might have bumped out the glass. Englund kind of fought back, shoved back. Yeah, that's all those for as far as players.
Right.
Tortorella's up to his usual. He's been pretty good though lately. Apparently he got a game misconduct because he did not leave the bench. Apparently it was after the game. They lost to Tampa Bay. And I don't know why he didn't leave the bench. I guess they're supposed to leave the bench after the game.
Yeah, he lost it. He refused to leave.
So I'm not sure why. Was it goal?
He is the perfect guy for Philadelphia.
Was the goal controversial, or I didn't see that? But he also, on top of the so he'd received a game misconduct for not leaving the bench, but then they suspended him 2 games and fined him $50,000. Well, that's a pretty good chunk of change there. I'm not sure what he makes as coaching, but I'm sure that's still gonna hurt. I don't care if you're making millions of dollars. Not like these $5,000 fines that the players get, but that money does go into the player thing or whatever it is, or something like that. One of the wherever the fines go. That's all the fines that I got, or fine suspensions that I got.
Yeah, I don't see anything here to add to that.
Well, so there wasn't too many other than that. But yeah, for just going back to the Parker Kelly 2 games, that's probably about right. Like I said, it didn't look like a vicious check. I mean, he did check him to the head. It did look like England's head kind of bumped out the glass. But, I mean, not saying he didn't have a concussion, but he wasn't knocked out. He didn't fall to the ice. He kind of ducked down, and like I said, he immediately went right after Kelly was pushing him and shoving him. So, but it's a head hit, and if they really want to get rid of those head hits, it wasn't a vicious hit by any means, but 2 games but you get fined. Was it 5? I said, or 2,500, something like that. But especially if he doesn't get paid I don't know if a player suspended if they forfeit the money, because they obviously get paid per game too. That far as salary.
Right.
I don't know what that would break down to be. But I don't know if, obviously he's out for 2 games. So I don't know if he obviously wouldn't get paid for those 2 games or not. But, on top of those, if you lose some salary on that and then on top of the fine, it could hurt. But more, it does hurt the pocketbook. But I think, in more, players, they want to play. They don't want to sit. So that, thinking sitting there for 2 games, and it was avoidable. I mean, he hit him with his shoulder. It was a little high. If he would have took another direct approach, and, he still could have made the hit, but just don't hit him high enough. Probably spent too much time on that one. So I guess we can roll into the PredWings 10 if you're ready, or if you want me to start first on the PredWings 10. There might be a couple surprises, maybe not. So I got the Rangers still on top, forced to be reckoned with. Florida, they're playing real well. I got them second. Rangers, Florida playing good. I got Vancouver. They've been red hot lately, so I got them jumping back up. I got them in 3. Carolina's been playing really well lately too, especially blowing out Calgary, who was doing pretty good. I think they were a special mention of mine last week. So I got them at 4. Dallas, they turned things. They had a little stretch there where they weren't doing good. So I got them moving back in. Actually, I got them moving up a couple into 5. Colorado, I got them moving up to 6. Boston, I got them sliding to 7 just because of all those other hot teams. There was nowhere else for them to go. I got the Islanders moving up to 8th, and then Winnipeg. They've been pretty. They had a nice little win streak there, and they're still up there. And then the Kings got them in 10 just because they win the games, some huge games, but they would drop a game that they probably should have won. Some tough games like that. They beat Vancouver, Vegas. Vegas, and then I got Vegas and Edmonton dropping out. They're probably not far behind the top 10, but I got them dropping out. They just lost at Columbus and Buffalo. 2 teams they should have won. And then obviously Nashville and Detroit. I didn't think Nashville and Detroit would last very long. But I got them dropping out. And I got no special mentions because there was nobody to mention.
Vegas just beat Detroit.
Well, yeah, but Detroit's also on a 5-game losing streak and they're not in the playoff. Well, they might not be in the playoffs next week.
No, they're not right now as we talk. But here goes mine.
Oh yeah, they are.
I've got Florida. I got Boston for they've been playing decent hockey lately, and then they added Maroon. So I'm going to go with Boston. Then I've got Vancouver, Dallas, like you had mentioned. The Rangers are still playing great hockey. I'm moving Colorado up because I do like, especially how they've been playing against Detroit. That Colorado team, I think, could beat many teams, just the way that they kept on the pedal. But I like that team, so I'm going to go with Winnipeg next. Toronto, Austin Matthews, you just can't stop him. Playing another phenomenal year of hockey. Edmonton, and I'm throwing Nashville, number 10. I know they're on a little bit of a skid, but they're not getting blown out of games. They're hanging. They're playing great hockey. They're not being blown out. They're stealing points, and they're playing good. I got it.
Well, they did.
10.
They have beat Colorado twice this year, but they got one more in Colorado, and they probably won't win that game. But that's coming up in a couple weeks on my on my pick. So, see, you got any mentions? Probably special mentions. I don't have any.
No.
All right, so that leads us into some AHL updates. Oh, it's not going good for Milwaukee. They did manage to win that. I don't know what happened to that soundbite, but little payback. They ended up beating Grand Rapids 4-2 in Milwaukee. But then they turn around and get blown out to the Wolves. Yeah, I said it right this time. I was trying to say it wrong. 7-4. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where they are. Since they got that 19-game losing streak, they just the February was a great month, and then March is not. Well, I think they had a little bit of a kind of revenge factor. Against Saturday against Grand Rapids because
you were playing against Hutchinson.
Well, he's South. I mean,
just saying.
That doesn't matter, but it's like, but
no,
I mean,
right.
I just think that it probably would have been a loss, but I think they a little more extra motivated because that was the team that ended their 19-game winning streak. So, I mean, obviously, I don't know if that's the way they, the professional NHL players think, but I know personally, me, when I'm playing against a team that just beat us, I mean, and this wasn't a blowout, but they had a 19-game winning streak. You just want to go out there. I mean, I want to go out there and win any game, but it'll gives you that little motivation to beat that team again. They took our winning streak. Let's go out there and show them. And I mean, obviously, none of my teams had a win streak of. I don't think we had a 2-game win streak, but it's just like I don't know if I should even be comparing myself with professionals, but as far as that momentum or that motivation, even playing against teams that, I mean, it never really happens. Teams that always seems to have our number and always blows us out. It's like you want that extra money. Let's just beat them one time. We usually don't, but I'm just thinking that's probably why they won that game. And then they got Manitoba coming up, who just beat them. They're actually playing a week apart. They that was like a week to the date, and it's both in Milwaukee. So, and then they got to go out west to San Diego and then Colorado. So maybe they can get back on the winning streak. I know Jankowski's up in Nashville, so he's not there anymore. Obviously, he was helping them. Obviously, I don't know if you want to add into that or go into your Griffins.
I mean, not much for the Griffins. We lost to Cleveland, lost to Chicago, and then lost to Milwaukee. So another 3-game skid for the Detroit organization. But the nice thing is, the players that you want to see developing are developing. So I think that's really big for not only the Griffins, but the Red Wings as well. Because, you've got guys, let me see here. I'm going to pull up some of their stats. You've still got Bergeron with 46 points. Carter Mazer, 31 points. Simon Edvinsson, 28 points. Marco Casper, 26 points. Like, those are, like, that is the organic team that Yzerman is growing right there. 3 forwards and a D. Yeah, see, he talked about. That's the nucleus.
With Milwaukee, got Afanasiev with 47. Looks like he's leading the Admirals. He's 13th in the league overall, so he's leading the Admirals. And then Jankowski, who I mentioned, is up in Predators. He's also got 47. So that's a big piece that Milwaukee's missing there. So, but you got these, like you said, these younger players that are developing. And all right, so that's it for the Admirals or the Griffins, both.
So
I guess.
You feel better that you played our backup and our best player wasn't there?
Well, our best player wasn't there either. One of our best players, because he's been in Nashville. So
I want, obviously, Kosa. I want to see what Nate Danielson can do. He's another Red Wings prospect. He's not in Grand Rapids yet. He's their first pick this year.
He won't be. He won't probably be 2-3 years then if he's still developing underneath the AHL. He's not going to just go right up to the NHL.
Yeah, he was traded to the Portland Winterhawks.
Oh, that's a junior. That's a WHL team. But that season has got to be coming to a close. Or wait, no, I think they close in May. That should wrap up our update, our AHL updates. Weekly picks not too good. Let's see, Detroit side. Well, we both got the Colorado one correct, and we both failed miserably on the Arizona. It's kind of like Detroit. And we both got the Vegas correct. That leads us into this week's. Looks like you got Buffalo next.
Yep, I'm gonna go with a win on Tuesday, and then I'm gonna go with another win. Oh wait. I got it. I'm gonna go win in Buffalo. I think we're gonna come back and win in Arizona or against Arizona, and then I think we will win again in Buffalo, and then Pittsburgh. I'm gonna go with a win there, like I had said. Out. I think they're gonna get on a hot streak right now.
At Buffalo, I think they're going to lose that one. Buffalo's been they've been playing pretty good at home. They just beat Edmonton and Bowen Byron. Did I say his name right? Bowen Byron. Oh, Bowen. Whatever that name is. I'm not gonna say he's gonna score against Detroit. He scored against Nashville, but and then they got a home game against Arizona. So that's like they're in different conferences, so they play each other twice, and that's within like a week.
Revenge.
Looks like. So I think that's kind of revenge. I hope. I think they're gonna win that game. It's Detroit. Probably more Detroit. Well, I don't know. It's in Detroit, so I hope they have more Detroit fans there than they did in Arizona. If Arizona had a 17,
they can have as many Arizona fans as they can.
Well, if Arizona had 17,
like Mullet Arena, they can fill that many fans of just Arizona and still feel like a Detroit home game.
Well, it was almost like a Detroit home game last week, but even if Arizona had 17,000 capacity, Detroit probably still would have had as many because they had quite a few. Colorado, was it, where they were at? The home game against Buffalo? Jam. They played Buffalo like twice in 4 days.
Yep.
Oh, they in the same division? Oh, that's probably why. I think they're gonna win that game. I was thinking loss, but I was like, nah. I think they'll win in Buffalo. Oh wait, no, that's in Detroit. Yeah, the one in Buffalo got lost. That one home game they're gonna win, even though the game I went to back when they played in the Joe, but that was a whole different team. the last season when they played in the Joe, I went to see them Detroit playing Buffalo, and
that's right.
Buffalo won. But my one and only trip to the Joe, which I'm glad I went, it was definitely worth it. And then that's a back-to-back at Pittsburgh. So they gotta go to. You think it would be Buffalo and Pittsburgh, like at Buffalo and at Pittsburgh, but Detroit. I guess Detroit and Pittsburgh aren't that far. And Pittsburgh's a mess. They don't. I think they're. If they weren't in the rebuilder before the season, they're definitely now. So that's going to be a win there. Over to the Preds side, Montreal, we both got wrong. Montreal, I guess, is a funny team. Buffalo game, I got that one wrong. You got that right, which I should have got that one right because I don't know. And then we reversed that again in Columbus. I got that right. You got that wrong. And then earlier today in Minnesota, I was wrong and you were right. I don't know how you picked a loss, whatever. So that leads us into it's a short week for me for the Preds. They got continuous little it's a 4-game road trip. At Winnipeg, they're going to lose that one. Winnipeg's just too strong right now. And then they got to go to Seattle. Seattle is a mess. They're going to win that one. And then that's all I got. Just 2 this week for me. Winnipeg and Seattle.
They're going to beat Winnipeg. I think they're going to beat Seattle.
Wow, it's getting towards the end. 17 more games for the Preds.
Okay.
So I'm falling behind on the Preds. 46% to your 48. You're one ahead of me, 32-31. I'm still holding a 4-win lead on the Detroit side, 36-32. You've managed to get to the 50% mark, and I'm at 56%. So seems like I know the Wings more than you, and you know the Preds more than me. And then overall, I'm 51%, and you're 49. I don't know how. I guess it's because I have that almost 60% picking the Wings. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes, and
Hopefully, I win.
Well, we're not playing for anything. Like we should do something like the light the lamp, or is that light the lamp? Well, actually, that'd be kind of hard because then we'd have to have a show every week or every day. Or I don't know. I don't know how we would do something like that. I guess that's what the weekly picks is. But we got to figure out a way to get points,
Yeah, we should.
like a couple points for a correct, and we wouldn't get any for an incorrect. Then we would have to figure something out. I don't know. But I don't know. Do they have do they have like a overall champion, or is it just for bragging rights and the light the lamp guys?
No, I think they get a trophy.
Oh, wonder what it is, an octopus? Or is
No, I
it
forget what it is.
Al Sababka's urine cup? I didn't just go there, did I? We can tell we're getting to the end of another show here. I think that's it. I think that about wraps it up after that one. You got anything more? Can you top that? Can you top that one?
I can't top that.
All right. Thanks for listening to another excellent episode 84. Our social media, PredWings Podcast on Facebook, Discord, Instagram, X, and YouTube. We're at PredWings Pod. And our email is PredWingsPodcast@gmail.com. And also, don't forget to join, follow us on Podbean so you can listen to our live shows. If you follow us on Podbean, you'll get a notification whenever we go live, so you can jump in and maybe we'll get you on the air if you want to talk for a little bit. But thanks for tuning in to the PredWings Podcast.
Good night, Hockey Town.
See ya, Smashville.